I believe this is a Polish movie, and as far as Polish movies go, I'm mostly familiar with Paweł Pawlikowski's work, which I have liked quite a bit, and I would say that this follows in that sort of similar vein too. It's kinda dark, not exactly uplifting, but at the same time it's very well written. It's well acted, it's well directed, and it's a pretty good looking movie too. So it's more or less solid on all fronts, and I don't really have a lot of complaints about this one. But unlike Pawlikowski's recent movies, this one is set in modern day Poland. However, the modern day elements are played down a fair bit and aren't exactly front and center. I feel like this could have been set in the 60s and worked just as well. Or, well, to be fair, it does use things like cell phones strategically whenever necessary. However, it does still have that kinda timeless quality to it where the era doesn't really matter. It's more about the actual characters and the actual story, that's what matters here. Speaking of which, the story here follows this young man who's set to get out of prison. He also seems to be the religious type and wants to become a priest. However, as a convicted felon, achieving that's gonna cause some issues. But nonetheless, that's what he wants, and he ends up in this small town that's apparently been stricken by some sudden tragedy. And in this small town, he gets involved with this community and gets to know the people. And I actually feel like the story here is more about this town and the community than this guy. I mean, he's obviously the protagonist and the story is told through him. And it is about him to some extent too, but I feel like his story is kinda secondary. In that it's the part about the town that's impacting him, more so than the other way around. Or, well, now that I'm considering it, they both probably do impact each other in equal amounts. One is crucial for the other to work, and alone they're really nothing. And isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Isn't that like the hallmark of great writing? That one part of the story is just as important as another one, and that they both influence each other. And that's exactly what's going on here, but I guess my point was that, well, it's not just about this one guy, the main character. There's much more to it than that. And I really loved the way this was written and how it all came together. I do also want to mention that the opening scene here is very intense. And it sort of set the tone, or rather it set the... I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. It basically put things into perspective and put this certain intensity at the back of your mind. So that even though most of the movie is actually nowhere near as intense, in fact most of it is rather slow and brooding, I guess you could call it, but that intensity still looms at the back of your mind and it gives everything a certain context. You know, tonally, a context that influences and colors everything else that happens in the movie. And I thought that was brilliant. I will also say that a similar intensity does make an appearance again later on, sort of bringing it all back together full circle, and without giving too much away, I will say that I liked how it ended quite a bit. But that's about it, I think. I don't really feel like I have much more to add. This is just a really well-made movie that's really solid on pretty much all fronts. And I don't really have any issues with it, and I ended up liking it quite a bit. However, would I recommend it? Sure, as long as you don't mind subtitles. Then I think this is very much worth checking out. Or, you know, you could not do that. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.